Hey there everyone, this is Flynn from Saberist Academy here at our flagship store in Solano Town Center Mall, Fairfield, California. Just wanted to make this quick little video because I keep getting asked one question that comes up a lot, and I don't think we've really explained it that much in a formal video. So here it is. I'm going to actually try to explain the 8 core principles of the Saberist Academy and the MetaStyles that we actually practice here. So we have Saberology, Flow, Stage Combat, and the Sport Dueling MetaStyles. MetaStyles is actually something that I coined a phrase for. I pulled it from publishing because I figured it had a very interesting adaptability about its category kind of explanation of things. So the MetaStyles that we practice here are, of course, Saberology, because that's the beginning to all the practices. Then you have people that want to get into more of the flow and kind of the physics and the dynamics and the kind of spatial awareness of somebody in accordance with their saber. And there's some really fantastic flow artists out there now. I could go down the list, but that's another video. Then you have Stage Combat, which is actually where I got my beginning back in 2005 with the New York Jedi. That was a fantastic portability of a lot of the experience that I personally had in martial arts that I got to bring to the stage, and I was able to pull together a team of like-minded individuals, and we did some fantastic shows. Speed forward to 2019 here for Saberist Academy, and we're now ironing out kind of the definitive MetaStyles categories, and Stage Combat is a very intense part of the 4 set. Now the 4th one, which is actually probably the most recent development, probably over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen a lot of groups out there that, or organizations that have come together to do some kind of sport dueling. That's the 4th MetaStyle. Sport dueling is all about putting on armor and legitimate protection to actually get in the ring and compete in a tournament or other kind of competition. There are many groups out there doing some very fantastic work, but there are certain levels of safety that each one of them observes in certain different levels. Like one just has masks and gloves versus one that has full armored protection for, you know, really strong competitive dueling. Now the reason why there's 8 core principles is all the MetaStyles that I just talked about, Stage Combat, Saberology, Sport Dueling, Flow, all of them, they all revolve around this one set of 8 points that we all really practice in varying degrees in other martial arts or martial sports, because this sport dueling is actually a martial sport. Martial art, it was, you know, we've had this conversation between myself and a number of instructors. There's a big difference. So, but this martial art that we all pursue around sabering is reflected between all these 8 core principles. We'll go down to them. We'll go safety, respect and awareness, body mechanics, stances, attacks or reach, defense, then range and motion, and then movement and form. They're going to make a lot of sense to everybody who's actually practiced any kind of martial art or kind of disciplined practice of kind of self-defense. The first one is everybody should be aware of. Safety. Safety is the #1 core principle I think that everybody is aware of. Now we'll talk about how they affect each one of the MetaStyles. That's how I'm going to explain this. The next one is kind of the respect and awareness immediately of your surroundings. So you start with your safety, you check where your position is, proper shoes, proper attire. Then you have proximity. That's respect and awareness. Okay? See where we're going with this? And then we have body mechanics. How are you interacting with that spatial awareness? So we have our arms, our legs, our head, our body, our footwork, and stances. That's the 4th core principle. How is the lower body connecting to the earth? Then you have basic strikes. Now, that means how are you using your framework to extend out into your surroundings, basic strikes or basic interaction. Next one would be defense. When that kind of interaction is coming into your sphere, where is your defense? How are you creating your sphere of protection around the safety, right? Then we get into range and motion, because when that interactivity starts, now it depends upon how far you are from something, and now you're ranging to start that forward interaction outside of just a singular space, which then leads to the 8th core principle, which is movement and expression and outward motion into the surrounding. If you actually break all of them down, you look at, let's just say for Saberology, the amount of safety you have to be concerned with is proper attire and hydration. If it's hot out, what's your climate? Be safe. In stage combat, the safety is kind of elevated. Now you're actually taking care of more stretching, and there's repetitive motion, and are you taking care of body, right? Versus proper footwork, or excuse me, footwear. Proper attire, it's breathable, it's also able to take the stresses of stage combat repetitive acting, right? Because you're going to be doing this over and over and over and over again. So your attire should actually be able to stand that. Sometimes when we do cosplay, it kind of breaks down with just being a singular kind of standing object. But when we're in stage combat, that's something that you'll want to think about. That's just safety. Then we get over to the flow. Think about safety and flow. Basically, who's around you? What's your awareness? And that actually branches the 1st and 2nd 8 core principles. The respect and awareness with the safety is just awareness and what's around you and what are you going to be hitting with as you're flowing. So that's just an example of how you break down the 8 core principles across the 4 MetaStyles. Now, of course, on safety with Sport Dueling, that is an entirely different topic, because now you're actually having, now while it's not similar to a lot of the martial sports that are out there, like the HEMA tournaments, where there's historical European martial arts, where you have steel and nylon in the competition. These are polycarbonate blades when we're actually competing. So the safety and the armor is appropriate for that, right? But it's still much greater than just simple saberology, because you're actually going to be impacted. See what I mean? Now here behind me, you can see this is actually a live tournament here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the Saber Legion TSL 4. Been going on for a couple of years now, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of fighters here that are getting ready to test their skills against people from all over the country. Now, when we're talking about sport dueling, these guys have, like, this is where we need the maximum amount of armor. But it's not violent, it's not heavy, it's always with good honor, and if you're hitting too hard, people will tell you. So this is what this is all about. Check this out.
Let us ready. Right.
Good honor, good honor.
change.
So we can go all the way around the 8 core principles and see how they apply to each Saberology, flow, stage combat, and sport dueling. Every one of these MetaStyles interacts with the 8 core principles at some level. Now, some people ask me, what's your system? The system of Saberist Academy is actually all dependent upon you. These are very basic core principles that I would like to hear you and get your opinion on this as an instructor, as myself as a director of Saberist Academy, and we want to certify you as an instructor. How do you interact with your students? See, this all becomes part of where is our experience. Me personally, I've had, now I'm not a black belt in anything, I've never claimed to be one. However, I have done training and study in Shorin-ryu karate, 5-animal kung fu, Filipino eskrima, samurai tate, which is stage combat with the katana, and a number of other ones. But that's just a short list. That's just what I bring to my own instruction. Now, that's how I teach my classes. But we're all learning the 9 points of contact. We're all learning basic defenses. It's all circles and boxes. You visit some of the educational videos out there. Everybody's talking about a lot of similar things. What I'm proposing is creating a certification program and a consortium of instructors that revolve around understanding these 8 core principles. I think it's rather simple, because if as instructors and as performers and as competitors and saberists, if we can all look at these 8 core principles and understand that they really do have a dynamicism about them to these levels of interaction in Saberology as we're all practicing it, I think it would be a big help to all of our community in understanding that we're all really practicing a very similar art. We're all using a similar tool. We're all moving in a similar way. I think that we could all really unify. There's a movement out there, United Through Sabers, right? I think this could be one of those programs that could help do that. So it's all up to you. I would very much like to have your assistance in building this network. The Saberist Network is what I'm calling it. And very soon, we're going to be able to interact with Saberists all over the world, and who knows where all this stuff could take us. I mean, I've heard talk about the Olympics for the sport dueling level. I'm just amazed at where this has all grown into from just back in 2005 and my own interaction with this. So please, pick up an LED saber and learn the art of saber dueling and lightsaber arts. Really. Thanks a lot. I'm Flynn. I'm the director here at Saberist Academy, and it would be my pleasure to saber with you.